All right.
Yeah, just kind of waiting for them to show the game.
Hopefully we get queued on in a second here.
Yeah, just kind of waiting for them to show the game.
Hopefully we get queued.
How did you just hear that over?
Yeah, well, what's up?
Yeah, okay. It's playing. I forgot. Hold on one second. All right.
I'm all set. Let's get it.
Let's do it. Welcome inside the Carrier Dome. It's a beautiful early December evening for college basketball in central New York as the Syracuse Orange get ready to play host to the Niagara Purple Eagles. My name is Giovanni alongside Kyle Marchak, your play-by-play commentators, bringing you this broadcast tonight. And Kyle, an exciting day inside the Dome because it's the Syracuse Orange second matchup this season. And a lot of cluster going on, a lot of excitement, but a lot of confusion in this past 24 hours. It started with a roof leak last night. Then it was confirmed that the roof was not leaking, that it was a situation with condensation off the roof and their new heating system within the Dome. Anyways, the women's game was moved over to the Mello Center, the Carmelo K. Anthony Basketball Center on the campus of SU, where they played their game. Then the men came on later last night. They practiced. Now COVID-19 throws a wrinkle into things. Tell everybody what's going on in Syracuse right now.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me on, Gio. And, nothing screams more coronavirus than the chaos of college hoops so far. We could focus on the keys to the game for Syracuse Niagara, but first, there's no way that we can avoid the fact that there's this chaos because of COVID, right? We're all seeing implications of possibly Buddy Boeheim and other bench players possibly not being able to come tonight due to coronavirus implications. Tweets are flooding in and out of reporters saying, so-and-so is missing from the practice session. They have to play it safe, of course. So it's certainly going to be a mess tonight, Gio.
So the true statement from Syracuse University that came out was one player tested positive to COVID-19. And this was from their testing session earlier in the week, dating all the way back to the end of last week. Nonetheless, one Syracuse player has tested positive for COVID-19. It has not been announced who that player is. And due to contact tracing, there are a couple anywhere ranging between one other player and however many more other players on this Syracuse team will not be active tonight due to contact tracing. So there's a big question mark there right now. No official names have been released. Probably won't know until tip-off, but it's been pretty easy to see that Buddy Boeheim has not been active and he has not played today thus far in the pregame warm-ups, in the shoot-arounds, anything like that. He is nowhere to be seen inside the Dome. So it's safe to say that Buddy Boeheim will not be playing. And from what I've been seeing on the Twitter landscape as well, it looks like the freshman Kadary Richmond will get the start at the shooting guard position. Again, nothing confirmed, but that is what we are seeing. This is live news taking place, literally stuff flooded out a half hour before tip-off. So there's a lot of excitement. Nonetheless, we still have college basketball tonight. It's the Orange and the Purple Eagles. Kyle, tell me a little bit about both these teams.
Well, there's going to be some important keys to the game. Syracuse Niagara, both only with one game combined under the belt. Of course, Syracuse playing last week against Bryant, and that was a tight one at that. should have been what should have been a blowout win for Syracuse, kind of a tune-up for the rest of the season. But with coronavirus leaving only one practice under the belts, they only won 85-84. It was a tight game, and Bryant had a hell of an effort. So with that being said, some of the problems I saw in that last game was shot selection, and we need to see more defensive excellence in the paint. We've really struggled at the center position historically for Syracuse. And, Joe Girard and Buddy Boeheim chucking up shots in transition will not help that. So shot selection will be big. And looking how Bryant played last week, I'm going to say that the key to the game for Niagara is pace control. They're really good shooters. They can have the athleticism to drive in, but pace control of the game will be the big thing for Niagara tonight.
Absolutely, Kyle. And just like that, we are underway inside the Dome. Syracuse also without center Barama Sidibe today. He suffered a torn meniscus after an MRI scan just 4 minutes into the game against the Bryant Bulldogs in the Syracuse season opener. And now today, obviously, he's inactive. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future. They're expecting it to be about 4 weeks or so, and that's still another question mark for this Syracuse team right now. But Syracuse playing Merrick Dolezaj at the center spot. You also have Quincy Guerrier in there. And Alan Griffin was really good at the rebounding as well. So a quick stoppage of play. Looks like a clock situation, and we're underway. Just 5 seconds into the matchup, Merrick Dolezaj has it at the top of the key. Back off to Joe Girard. They're going to have to lean on him for scoring tonight without Buddy Boeheim in there. Alan Griffin lost it for a second, dishes it inside. Quincy Guerrier, the lay-in up and good. He'll take a trip to the free throw line. It's an and one foul to start off the game, and they started that way last week as well, Kyle.
Yeah, it's a big play right there to start it off. You see that some of the smaller things are finally laying into place. Obviously, with last game, we saw Dolezaj was in the paint plenty after Sidibe left. Not really his natural position, and you could see that it affected him. Some of the small things just weren't falling in place for Syracuse, basic layups and routine plays. But once they got it together, all the guys, really scratched out that win. Dolezaj led the team with 20 points. So, all these guys are going to get touches in the paint tonight.
Absolutely. Guerrier awaiting a free throw here to convert an and one opportunity. Jim Boeheim talking to his team from the sideline. But nonetheless, we're underway in game 2 of this very young Syracuse basketball season. And everybody kind of had the same mindset around Syracuse following game 1 against Bryant. Hey, we're 1-0. A win is a win, whatever way you got to do it. And Quincy Guerrier will take the free throw here from the charity stripe. Free throw is up and good. So he's 1 for 1 on the night with 3 points just like that. Syracuse, a 3-0 lead over Niagara. And it wouldn't be without talking about the Niagara head coach. A homecoming for him. It's Greg Paulus, a man that was an academic All-American in both college football and college basketball, but was also a high school All-American, both football and basketball, not All-State, All-American at Christian Brothers Academy here in Syracuse, New York. Could have played anywhere for both sports for the most part. Chose to pursue basketball at Duke University, obviously one of the most prestigious in the country. Played for Coach Mike Krzyzewski for 4 years, a 3-year starter. He's a top 10 leading scorer in the history of Duke basketball. And then after that, he decided to pursue a graduate year with 1 year of eligibility left to play any sport but basketball. He took on football, and he was the starting quarterback for the Syracuse football team under head coach Doug Marrone at the time. So just what a story. And he comes back as the head coach of the Niagara Purple Eagles. The game has stopped for the moment. I'm not sure if it's a clock issue or exactly if the roof is leaking once again, Kyle. But the game has stopped right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the perfect time to get into the rich history of Syracuse. Like you said, Paulus is quite the impressive athlete. And there's actually an even richer history than first thought. Syracuse and Niagara have had 82 games in their history, and Syracuse is 54-28 against them. So obviously Syracuse having the upper hand, as expected. Of course, Niagara, a smaller program. But did you know that Calvin Murphy of Niagara University dropped 68 points back in the day in 1968? So a lot of historical background in this college basketball a rivalry here in a sense, at least, both being in-state programs, all sorts of stuff to look at, Gio.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be a situation where Niagara wants to come in and kind of beat up on their big brother a little bit, so to speak. Syracuse, the dominant program in the state of New York. You have St. John's in the city as well. But definitely the dominant program has to be Syracuse. They are New York's college team. That's, a trademark statement So Niagara would love to come over from Buffalo just as well as any of those teams. Three-pointer here is up off the mark, and Girard chases it down for a rebound. Syracuse going the other way. We're a minute away in the Carrier Dome. Kadary Richmond drives in, kicks it out, nearly goes out of bounds. Alan Griffin with the drive to the inside. Tips in his own miss, but he misses that one. Alan Griffin tried to corral it, and a foul on the floor. It goes against the Orange. Niagara will take it back. But as I was saying, it's kind of a situation they want to beat up on their big brother, just like Iona and Cornell and Colgate, all those other schools within the state of New York. So you hit the nail right on the head, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's already looking messy in the paint again. I think these guys are going to have a chippy game, just as we saw between Bryant and Syracuse last week.
Three-pointer up and good, and just like that, we have a tied ball game. Raheem Solomon gets it going for the Purple Eagles, and now Syracuse going the other way. Joe Girard is fouled at the top of the key. That one's going to go against Justin Roberts, the redshirt senior guard, 5'10", 189-pounder out of Lawrence, Kansas. That's a long way coming from Kansas all the way to upstate New York, western New York, I should say. Joe Girard had it, gave it off to Alan Griffin. Kadary Richmond, crossover at the top of the lane, tries to drive in, kicks it over to Alan Griffin. A step back three is off the mark, and now the Purple Eagles will take it the other way. Now driving inside, trying to get the bucket to go. Unable to do so that time was Kobe Nwandu, and Merrick Dolezaj got the rebound, kicks it out. Alan Griffin for three. That one rattles around and is off the mark, hits the backboard. Niagara with the rebound, pursuing the ball the other way. Now field goals, Niagara 1 for 3, Syracuse 1 for 4. You hit the nail right on the head when you said sloppy play might be the dictor tonight. Three-pointer for Niagara, up, off the mark. Rebound offensively for the Purple Eagles, still keeping the possession live. Now another three-pointer. That one's no good. Raheem Solomon couldn't get his second attempt to go, and Merrick Dolezaj takes it the other way. He gets stripped in the middle of the court. Pursuing the bucket, Girard with a steal, and he steps. His heels go out of bounds. Niagara will take the ball back. So that was an exciting couple of minutes. Fast-paced offense. A lot of three-pointers taken right now. A lot of jump shots. Not a lot of penetration on the inside, Kyle. What are you seeing?
Yeah, no, I'm afraid it's going to turn into that Bryant game that I've mentioned already several times so far. As Bryant kind of pushes the pace up and down the court, shoots their shots, and is extremely aggressive on the offensive side. And I'm actually looking at the numbers right now. Justin Roberts and Raheem Solomon are huge three-point shooters. Both those guys manning the offense are not afraid to chuck the ball up. Raheem Solomon actually shot 34% from the field, or actually from three-point land, last year, and 48% from the field is Greg Kukamensa, that guy on the inside for them. So they have a lot of lethal shooters for Niagara tonight.
Kobe Nwandu got one to go for the Purple Eagles, stretching it to a 2-point lead over the Orange, but then we went the other way, and Alan Griffin hit a three. So it's a 6-5 lead for Syracuse, 16:55 and counting left in the first half here inside the newly renovated Carrier Dome. Alan Griffin pursues a pass, getting in the passing lane, tips it away and out of bounds. So Alan Griffin using his nice wingspan, a long wingspan. That's what Jim Boeheim loved about this guy, bringing him in, a grad transfer from Illinois. Jim Boeheim loved the fact that he could fit well in the zone with that long wingspan. And he's certainly fitting in well here for Syracuse. Played a great game last week as we await the restart here. And we're back underway inside the Dome. 6-5 lead for Syracuse over the Niagara Purple Eagles. An in-state matchup here on Orange Heat. Three-pointer is up late in the shot clock. That one's off the mark. And Niagara just had to chuck one up with 2 seconds left. Rebound Guerrier. Kadary Richmond has it at the top of the key. Kicks it over. Alan Griffin from three. That one's off the mark. No good. Dolezaj couldn't corral the rebound, and instead it was Nwandu for Niagara. Pass to the inside, and this bucket is good. Niagara takes the lead right back, 7-6. The bucket by Nicholas Crotham.
Yeah, this is going to be a back-and-forth game, just as I suspected. But the big thing is when Syracuse gets the ball, can they slow the game down? That fits more of the offense that Syracuse plays, especially if Girard can stop chucking up those shots. Like I said, smart shot selection will be a big deal tonight. So if he stops chucking up those threes when it's unneeded and decides to maybe man the pick and roll or drive inside, whichever way he can get into the paint, it'll help the team because he is quick enough to create more plays and opportunities for his other people on the court.
Offensive foul on the court against Kadary Richmond, and that's just a freshman rookie mistake playing in today. The starting lineup instead of Buddy Boeheim, one could assume that he is in the contact tracing lineup. It was confirmed that he is not the one diagnosed with COVID-19 and testing positive, but he is in the contact tracing venue. Alan Griffin, an up-court pass to Marek Dolezaj. He gives it off to Guerrier on the inside, and Guerrier, a nice hook shot. Syracuse takes the lead back, 8-7, 15-29 left to play. Nobody Boeheim tonight, Kyle, for Syracuse. What is going to be the key for this Orange offense to still be able to score without their leading scorer, who dropped 23 points in the opening matchup against the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's going to be a big deal. Kadary Richmond getting the start tonight, and that's going to be awesome for him, obviously, as a freshman. So that'll be time for him to capitalize, of course. But what's most important is replicating in an efficient manner the offensive production of Buddy Boeheim. Obviously, he's a smart player. He was one of those guys who kind of chucked up shots when it was unneeded. Like I said, smart shot selection will be important. So Kadary Richmond just has to play the game to his liking. Don't try and play outside of yourself just yet. He's a freshman, so it's time for him to shine, really.
We went both ways, back and forth. Niagara was able to convert a field goal, taking a 9-8 lead. Girard tossed up a deep three. Quincy Guerrier now from three. Give it to him. Quincy Guerrier. You wouldn't have seen him take that shot last year, Kyle. Really upped his game. Took 2 3-pointers in the opening matchup against Bryant. Couldn't hit him. But I remember Jim Boeheim made a promise at the 2003 National Championship watch party when that was televised during the midst of the pandemic. And there was a watch party, and Jim Boeheim promised that Quincy Guerrier would get that 3-point percentage up, and you'd see him be a shooter this year. He proved that to be true, nailing a 3. Bryant responded with a bucket, but it's 11-11 in the Dome, 14 minutes to go, Kyle.
Yeah, it's certainly an odd scenario. Guerrier not at center. He's at the 4 tonight. But he is actually the biggest man in the court, weighing in at about 210, 220 pounds. He is bigger than his center tonight, Marek Dolezaj. Of course, Dolezaj also not a center. So we have some quick people under the rim tonight. Of course, none of them really true center height as Dolezaj puts another bucket away. But yeah, Guerrier at the end of the last game against Bryant actually got the ball when they fouled, trying to get another guy to the foul line, another opportunity for a bucket. And they gave it to Guerrier, and I'm thinking to myself, is that a smart decision? But you see there that his shooting in general has really improved since last season.
He did miss the free throw, and then Marek Dolezaj came away with a tremendous rebound. 3-pointer here for Niagara. Count it. It's a 14-13 lead now for the Purple Eagles in the bucket there by Nick McDonald, the sophomore guard, 6'5". He can really keep up with this Syracuse offense. The Orange known for having very tall guards. Alan Griffin, the through pass from Marek Dolezaj, and he slams it home. Syracuse gets the lead right back. And you mentioned it, we're going to be going back and forth here tonight inside the Dome, under 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, back and forth. It's looking like a tennis match already again. Syracuse is really struggling to control the pace. That may be because of a lack of practices. Of course, the chaos of being in the Dome with all the condensation, possible roof problems, COVID, it's been a mess.
And now a stoppage of play, timeout here on the court. The highlight play so far, Marek Dolezaj, the assist man, gives it off to Alan Griffin, and he dunks it home for Syracuse. It's a 15-14 lead now for the Orange inside the Dome. But this Niagara team has been impressive so far. They've shot the 3 well, but they've also gotten a little bit of penetration here. And Kobe Nwandu has been big off the glass for Niagara thus far.
Yeah, Nwandu and Hammond are really good at manning the offense and getting inside. They're not a huge team, no real true centers when it comes to size. But obviously, Paulus really likes this squad because there are actually no new faces on the roster this year. They're all returning players, which is something you won't see often with bigger programs. But with smaller programs like Niagara, it's something you can somewhat expect. Like I said, when we're looking at Bryant, who I compared to them to so often, they only had a couple new faces as well. So the chemistry is going to look really interesting here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Syracuse, kind of the big question is, why aren't we seeing – I mean, obviously Marek Dolezaj is very capable of playing the 5 in a game like this. Syracuse is a lot taller than this Niagara team as a whole. I mean, Syracuse is known for that, having that length. Boeheim loves that length because it fits well in the 2-3 zone. But the question is, are we going to see the other centers on this roster? There's still plenty of guys on this roster that are marked at the center position. Jesse Edwards, John Bolajak, and then they just brought in the freshman, Frank Anselim, as well. Yet we have a power forward, Marek Dolezaj. Granted, he's a senior playing at the 5. He played at the 5 when he had to last year. You have Guerrier in there, gives you that off-the-glass rebounding ability, and has the ability to score as well out of Canada. How much of Anselm or John Bolajak or even Edwards do you think we'll see tonight?
Honestly, the way Boeheim runs his team, I think it'll be very low to possibly no minutes on the court for those guys. And that's honestly a sad fact of the matter. Dolezaj really, some kind of average when it comes to foul situations. Usually, sometimes he can foul out, sometimes he doesn't. I've seen, statistically speaking, at the center position, he usually gets into foul trouble more often. So there is that possibility that we're going to see guys like John Bolajak, Jesse Edwards, or Anselm get in tonight. Anselm seems to be the first guy off the bench, although Jean Bolajak was picked up last year as a redshirt freshman, and he's also a very highly ranked center in his class. So, it's all about size. And Marek Dolezaj, of course, quicker under the rim, but he's not a big guy, and he's obviously not a true center. So it's going to be a huge question mark, but it's all up to Boeheim's way of playing offense. And usually he wants quicker guys under the rim.
It's been really fun for Syracuse fans to see Marek Dolezaj grow throughout his tenure at Syracuse, now entering his senior season. I think the biggest takeaway for me, he was always scrappy. He was always good at getting some rebounds. He's developed his offensive game, and the scoring is there as well. But he, I think, is the best passer on this Syracuse basketball team, and it was on full display with a great through ball up to Alan Griffin, who dunked it home.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's one of the quicker guys under the rim tonight. Obviously not a true center, but that athleticism is always on display with these guys. I mean, that's the way Boeheim likes to run it. It's a shame that he doesn't get guys like that driving into the paint and then creating plays, though. Obviously, Marek Dolezaj usually ends up, either right at the top of the key creating something or right in the paint.
Dolezaj led the way with 9 assists last game in the opener against the Bryant Bulldogs. Alan Griffin drives to the rim. He gets fouled. He'll head to the charity stripe for 2 free throws here. 12:18 left to go in the first half of action. Syracuse leads it 15-14. It's game number 2 here of the young season for Syracuse. Alan Griffin, first free throw is up and good. So add 1 to the scoreboard, 16-14 now. 12:18 left to go. The entire sideline on both squads is completely masked up and socially distanced. Alan Griffin hits the other one. It's a 3-point lead for the Orange as the clock continues to wind. Niagara now takes it up the court on the right side. Pass towards the middle. Justin Roberts gives it off. Now some penetration. A stop. Pass is given off. 3-pointer here for Niagara. This one off the mark. Fighting for the rebound there was Quincy Guerrier. It went out of bounds. 3-pointer taken by Nick McDonald. He's hit one tonight. Couldn't convert on that one. Syracuse still a 3-point advantage. 12:01 now left on the clock, and Niagara keeps the basketball.
Yeah, Niagara really likes to chuck up those threes, but luckily that kind of plays into the 2-3 zone that Boeheim runs. These guys are really long and tall up top, so they should be able to handle it well. It's a matter of when they drive, what they can do with the ball.
McDonald kicks it out to the right side. That bucket no good. Rebound Guerrier. 3-pointer off the mark. Joe Girard lobs one to the inside. And it's a bucket for Syracuse. Kadari Richmond converts. Not a dunk, but a layup there on the alley-oop.
Yeah, you were getting geared up for a little alley-oop there.
That's his second alley-oop of the season. Threw one up to Alan Griffin, who really slammed it home in the opener. And another highlight play there, assist-wise, out of Joe Girard. Looks like it will be a backcourt violation here for Niagara. Syracuse takes it back. That pass just too far past Justin Roberts. He couldn't keep it. The Purple Eagles, and another stoppage of play. Timeout Niagara. Syracuse leads it 19-14, 11-17 left to go here in the first. And this game's moving quickly, Kyle. You said it. Niagara's really taking those 3-point shots. They're kind of living or dying by it at this point right now, dying by it because Syracuse has that lead. They've hit a couple. But don't you think that the key to Niagara has to be trying to penetrate inside this zone? A very tall task at that, but Syracuse is weak on the inside. They don't have a true center playing basketball right now, and they don't have an experienced guard who's got a lot of length in Buddy Boeheim. So if you're Niagara, what are you trying to do at Greg Paulus' squad to really win this game?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the lack of depth and experience in the Syracuse squad, which is sometimes, unfortunately, a common narrative in Syracuse basketball hoops, it's going to be a problem. And so how will Niagara capitalize on that? Well, they have guys who can shoot. Obviously, Solomon and Roberts, both guys who shoot 30+% from the 3-point line, which is a solid number, 34% last year for Solomon, which is a really good number. Roberts, of course, not in the court as much, but he was shooting something like, 40-something% last year. These guys have absurd numbers from the arc. So they have to use that as a tool, not just something they can live and die by, just as you said. They have to shoot in the right situations. Shot selection, just as I said for Syracuse, should be important for Niagara as well tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I think, the key to this game for both of these teams is just kind of staying composed. I mean, basketball, obviously a game of runs. These guys are just lucky to be out there right now, and they know that. They value that, how much they want to be out there, how much they've had to anticipate this season with a huge question mark whether or not it would even happen. And the fact that we have college basketball tonight after one Syracuse player testing positive is really kind of a shock here. As on the stream, they show Greg Paulus, former quarterback of the Syracuse football team, in an SU jersey. So pretty cool to see there. But talking about Syracuse, Kyle, they really have not had a lot of practice. They came on campus in July. They were shut down and lost 14 days of practice behind that Bryant game. Practiced one day inside the dome, got to play Bryant, came away with a narrow win. Jim Boeheim said they never should have even played that game, in his opinion. And now this week, they had a full week of practice. What are you seeing differently? Nothing really evident just yet, but what do you expect to see differently?
Well, I mean, I hate to disagree with you, but I think it is evident that Syracuse is looking a little bit better. It's about those routine plays. Like I said last game, Dolezaj led off the game by missing an open layup. That was kind of an opening statement for Syracuse. They really needed those practices. Boeheim was correct. He shouldn't have had those boys play, but they grinded out that game, and that's good for them. But almost a week later, you see that those practices kind of fell into place for Syracuse. The foul shooting percentages are going to go up here today, and you're going to see the routine plays kind of fall into place for Syracuse.
Girard drove inside. He was fouled, couldn't convert the shot, misses his first free throw. Interesting that he misses that one, just because last year at one point he led the nation in free throw shooting percentage. And of course, he nails the second one, nothing but nets. 20-14 lead for Syracuse right now over Niagara. 11:06 left to play. The Orange, this is their second matchup. Niagara, just their first game of the 2020-2021 campaign for the Purple Eagles. Pass to the inside, and the bucket is up and good. He had to fight for that one. It's Nicholas Crotham again for Niagara. Girard taking it quickly the other way. Girard, pass to the inside, way too high over the head of Merrick Dolezaj. He couldn't corral it, and it's another turnover for the Orange. Joe Girard. Jim Boeheim said last week against Bryant was the worst basketball he's seen Joe Girard ever play. And he said, he made a promise. He said, I don't think you'll ever see him play that bad again. Well, what are your thoughts on that from the head coach?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. Obviously, Joe Girard's style at Glens Falls when he was running New York was he was a really great shooter, which can pay off at only 20 feet from the rim. But with those extra couple of feet, his three-point percentage really hasn't stayed with him. So obviously he was a decent shooter last year, and he did the right things as the season came through. But in that opening game against Bryant this year, I mean, you're right. It just was completely uncharacteristic of not just Joe Girard, but a lot of players. Poor shot selection, had no will to drive or create plays for his teammates. These guys weren't playing selfless enough or selfish enough. It was kind of a gray area where they wanted to take some big shots, and then they wanted to give it off to players who really weren't prepared for the right situation. So it was certainly a mess last game.
McDonald comes out for Niagara. Note that because he's hit a 3 or 2 thus far. Dolezaj missed his first free throw after driving inside, got fouled, couldn't hit the bucket, but he makes his second. It's 21-16 inside the dome. Advantage to the Orange. 10:21 left to play in the first half of action. So we're about a quarter through this game thus far, Kyle. Syracuse, a 21-16 advantage. Pass to the right side. Now at the top of the key, pump fake, penetration here. Throtham kicks it out to the right. That one's no good for Niagara, and it goes out of bounds. They will keep the possession alive off the hands of Quincy Guerrier. And Kyle, I'm not going to lie, these Niagara jerseys are a little difficult to see. Purple numbers on black jerseys. So as a broadcaster, not exactly what we love to see, because having a lot of difficulty calling out names here, seeing the numbers, unfortunately. Joe Girard hits the turf, or the court, I should say. 10:01 left to go. 21-16 still alive for Syracuse. The possession will remain with the Purple Eagles, and they're taking a quick break on the court. Kyle, what are your thoughts on what Girard has to do to kind of bounce back this game after struggling in the opener?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it over and over again: shot selection, shot selection, shot selection. But Girard's 6 foot, right? He can drive, and he's certainly quick enough to get the ball up and under. He can handle it on a string, and get it out to his teammates. Will he get a bunch of points in the paint? Not likely. He's more of a shooter, and that's his playing style. But shot selection is going to be most important because it was extremely poor last game, and those were a lot of opportunities wasted for Syracuse.
Well, speaking of Joe Girard, he gets a steal, pushes it up the court, gives it to Kadary Richmond, who missed his layup driving inside the lane, but he was able to tip in his miss. So it's a 23-16 advantage for Syracuse, 9:22 left to go. Niagara sharing the ball well with each other, but they're not necessarily finding the open shots. They're still tossing up some difficult ones. Syracuse really forcing them late in the shot clock. Pass to the inside. Nicholas Crotham tried to nail one home, and the play is stopped. It looks like it will be a foul against Quincy Guerrier, shaking his head. He doesn't like the call. 9:09 left to go. Still a 23-16 advantage. Greg Paulus getting some substitutions here for his squad. McDonald will come back in alongside Shandon Brown.
Yeah, these Niagara players on the inside are seriously athletes. Obviously they lack some of the size and strength, but Gary actually biting on a pump fake right there. So some of those small things might help Niagara out tonight.
Absolutely, and the stoppage of play is now concluded. We're back underway inside the dome. Pump fake here, driving inside the lane, kick back out. Kadary Richmond tried to get out of the zone to get a steal, and a jumper from the elbows off the mark. Rebound, Quincy Guerrier going the other way up to Alan Griffin. Griffin pulls up for three. Give it to him. Alan Griffin stops his footing and lets one fly. Give it to him. 26-16, 10-point advantage for the Orange. Timeout, Golden Eagles. Greg Paulus wants to talk to his squad. 8:43 left to go. Now the Orange find themselves up by 10. This has to be what we expected, though, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great play. Alan Griffin and his counterpart freshman, Kadary Richmond, both have great confidence and actually similar playing styles. Both these guys not afraid to shoot from the wing. You actually see Griffin pulling up from the elbow a little bit right there. That's a deep three right there and some high confidence in both those young men right now.
Alan Griffin impressed Syracuse fans in the opener against the Bryant Bulldogs. Really an athletic body, has the capability to score. And the big question for everyone was, how do you fill the shoes of Elijah Hughes? Who's going to do it? And I'm not saying Alan Griffin's the guy. My opinion was actually that it's going to be a collective effort, a team-wide thing where there's not going to be that one go-to guy. But he's certainly proving that he has the capability to score the basketball.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And I can actually see that very well. All these guys kind of spreading out that productive efficiency that we're trying to replace here with Elijah Hughes. And I think these guys are doing it well as a collective effort. We see that Buddy Boeheim's out, and they're also replacing that productive efficiency as well. All these guys are not afraid to pass the ball around a little bit more today, as we see Girard pulling up from three and missing. So, they're all rebounding and doing the small things right this time, and that'll help them through this game.
Guerrier getting scrappy on the inside, gets his own miss, and puts another layup up on the board for Syracuse. 28-16, lead now by 12. It's a 15-2 run against Niagara right now for Syracuse. 8:05 left to play, and it's all Orange inside the dome. That shot from the top of the key by McDonald is blocked by Kadary Richmond. You love the length in the zone. Corner three, off the mark. Kobe Nwandu let it fly. Rebound, Merrick Dolezaj. Syracuse going the other way. Richmond a drive, lets it go, off the glass and in. 30-16, Syracuse running away with it early, Kyle.
Yeah, hopefully they control this pace and keep going. They're pressing the court a little bit faster than usual, and perhaps that's fitting the playing styles of these guys. Obviously, Girard's kind of a quick shooter. He's not afraid to pull up from deep and get up the court quick, but all these guys are going up and down with a lot of pace here.
McDonald let a three fly for Niagara. It was off the mark. Quincy Guerrier, pump fake, drive inside, off the glass and in. 32-16 now, 7:15 and counting left to go. Niagara just one field goal in the last 3.5 minutes. Greg Paulus still not calling another timeout. Nwandu on the inside. Kick out. McDonald from three. Top of the key. Rolls off the rim and out. Rebound. Guerrier tipped away from Dolezaj. Kadary Richmond now pushing the tempo a little bit. Elects to slow it down. Guerrier wide open on the inside. Saves it from going out of bounds. Up to Alan Griffin. Girard pump fake. Lets a three fly from the left side. Bang! Joe Girard III with his first three-point field goal of the night. Niagara calls a timeout. Syracuse 35-16, 6:43 left to go in the first half, Kyle. Syracuse, all of a sudden, an onslaught of offensive explosion by the Orange.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a huge shot right there to finish off that huge streak, and hopefully they continue when they get back on the court. Girard finally hitting the shot, and that's the last thing you want to see as Niagara right now is to see their big man up top, or excuse me, obviously their little guy is 6 foot. But to see Girard heat up right now will not be good for Niagara because they're already struggling on the defensive end, and for their number one guy who can really shoot from deep. Start hitting shots will be a not good for Niagara at all, especially because they're struggling defensively. They're also forcing up shots in the offensive end. I'd like to see Niagara kind of slow down the game and perhaps drive the ball more, create better opportunities with better shot selection, and keep themselves in this game before Syracuse runs away with it right now.
Yeah, the defense for the Orange looks good because they're really not giving up any kind of penetration, which is what you want to see in the zone. And they're making them shoot the tough ball late in the shot clock, having to heave up threes, and Niagara just simply not hitting their shots right now. This is a good three-point shooting team. Last year, they were really good three-point shooting. A couple of guys, 46% from the field, three-point shooting. That's high numbers right there. Just one that comes off the mouth here. Marcus Hammond, junior guard, 6'2", 160-pounder out of Queens, New York. He's a guy that shot up 126 three-pointers last season, shot 46%. So they can score the ball, not proving that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are not afraid to shoot from deep, but kind of uncharacteristic of them to be missing so many of them. I think they've only landed a couple so far this game with only 16 points on the board, and they've shot at least 10 3-pointers. So Niagara needs those shots to fall, or else they're going to, we're talking about them living or dying by the three-point shot, and right now they're certainly dying from it. They need to drive that ball and create better opportunities and feel more comfortable to shooting through the three-pointer as a tool as opposed to something they're going to live and die by. If you drive in, you kick it out to the wing, and then he shoots a three, that's a proper play. But to just, dribble up the court and pull up, that's, there's better opportunities for Niagara tonight.
And we're almost back to basketball inside the dome. And Niagara, really a team, the recruiting is very spread here. A young man from Mali, some guys from Kansas, Pennsylvania, a couple of New York guys, Connecticut, Massachusetts, a lot of guys, Ohio, Kentucky. So it really goes on. But there is a young man from Syracuse, New York, Will Engelhart, a homecoming for him, sophomore forward. And he is from Syracuse, New York, along with Greg Paulus. So that's cool to see in the recruiting trail as well. But we're back to basketball. McDonald on the inside, couldn't corral the pass. Syracuse forcing it late, 10 seconds to go in the shot clock. Pump fake now on the right side and a stoppage of play. Woody Newton in the ball game for Syracuse, but a foul against him early on. Woody Newton, another freshman on this team alongside Kadari Richmond, a forward, 6'8", 200-pounder out of District Heights, Maryland. And Syracuse fans are excited to see what Woody Newton and Kadari Richmond can bring to the floor. Now Niagara back with it, left side, 12 seconds left in the shot clock after a reset. Top of the key, pump fakes. Corner three, pump fake again, drive to the inside, and it will be an offensive foul. That time it goes against Kobe Nwandu once again. Merrick Dolezaj was the one who soaked it. And Jim Boeheim looking to go 2-0 in his 45th season as head coach of this Syracuse basketball team, I should say. Joe Girard will take it. 6:03 and counting left to go. Syracuse leads it 35-16. Girard at the top, gives it off to Alan Griffin. Corner three for Woody Newton, and he hits it. Woody Newton, in his first game in a Syracuse jersey, nails a three, his first field goal on this Syracuse basketball team, and that'll be one to remember. It's a corner three, one of the toughest shots to hit, Kyle.
Yeah, Newton starting right off the bat. That's good to see. Obviously, kind of replacing that depth that we'll need as Boeheim's out. Everyone's spreading across the court and hitting the shots that they need to right now. Not much else to say about Syracuse. They're taking the right shots, being opportune when it comes to their shot selection, and Niagara isn't. So Niagara needs to drive the ball as they are right now and produce the right opportunities for Syracuse.
Now some chaos on the court. Deep three here for Niagara. Off the mark. It was late in the shot clock once again. Tajay Hill was the one who sent it up. Syracuse leads it 38-16, 5:15 left to go. Girard now getting double teamed. Woody Newton, left side, three-pointer again. That one's off the back rim. He gets his own rebound, and he's fouled going up with a free throw. So he'll get himself sent to the line. The foul against Traore on the floor. But Woody Newton, a three-pointer, then he let one fly again, missed it, but he had the audacity, you could say, to go in pick up his own rebound, and now a trip to the charity stripe.
Yeah, Troyer getting a little handsy on the inside, but that's a good play by Newton. Missing that three, kind of a heat check right there. Would have been a hell of a start if he got 2 in a row. But smart stuff right there. Syracuse fighting for the rebounds. All the small things are falling into place for Cuse, and hopefully they'll continue to separate here.
First free throws up and good for Woody Newton. Marcus Hammond now checking into the game for Niagara. Merrick Dolezaj talking to Coach Boeheim. 5:06 left to go. Woody Newton awaiting his second free throw. And now this one is up, off the back rim and out. Syracuse fighting for the rebound. Newton unable to pick up a second offensive rebound off his own miss. 39-16 Syracuse. Pass to the inside. Jesse Edwards on Traore. He converts the foul. So Traore will take a trip to the line. And he's the gentleman I mentioned that is from Bamako, Mali. And he also attended a military academy coming all the way to play basketball in the United States. So Tuba Traore will have 2 shots at it from the free throw line. Jesse Edwards in for Merrick Dolezaj at the 5. Interesting. No Frank Anselem, no John Bolajak. It's Jesse Edwards checking in right now.
Yeah, and we actually have seen him on the court a little bit before last season, but he's a really, really small center. I mean, he's very skinny. He obviously has some growing to do. But like you said, Boeheim gets his boys in the weight room. So you're going to see constant improvement, especially at the center position. Obviously, historically, we're weaker in the center position. Last time we've had a real big center under the rim was probably Dajuan Coleman. And of course, at that, he really wasn't that big of an offensive production. So it's good to see this trying to get everybody on the court now that Syracuse is starting to separate, kind of going against what I thought previously, where if Syracuse stayed in this game with Niagara kind of close, Merrick Dolezaj was going to be the only guy in the paint tonight for Syracuse.
Alan Griffin lets a step back fly, tightly contested off the mark. Now in for the Orange. Niagara pushing it quickly the other way, but now in for Syracuse real quick. A corner 3, Niagara, and that one is a bucket. Justin Roberts, redshirt senior, let one fly, and he hits the shot. It's 39-20 inside the dome. Syracuse a 19-point advantage, but Jim Boeheim elects to call a timeout, and he is chewing off the ear of his players right now. And, well, I don't know how long this lineup will stick, but I was going to mention the fact that Robert Braswell is in, Woody Newton is in, and Jesse Edwards is in, as well as Alan Griffin and Guerrier. So guys right now that aren't necessarily starters, but guys that Guerrier, a 6-man, came in a lot more production late in the season. Jesse Edwards, we didn't really see. Obviously, Alan Griffin new. Woody Newton, a freshman, but really Robert Braswell in as well. This is a young lineup for Syracuse. I don't know how long it'll last, considering Boeheim just called a timeout and didn't appear to be happy, but definitely something to note.
Yeah, I mean, he runs a tight ship, and for him to see the boys let Niagara get to the inside and kick it out to the wing, get a big bucket for Niagara, obviously he's not going to be happy. He runs a tight ship. All the small things need to fall into place for Boeheim in order for him to be happy, and letting Niagara do exactly what he says they should be doing, driving in and then creating more opportunities, which Syracuse has been defending well thus far. Obviously, he's not going to be happy about that, but that's something you can expect from Boeheim tonight.
Absolutely. And looking at some of the film from last year with Niagara, that's their game. That's what Greg Paulus' squad loves to do. Drive to the inside and then kick it out to the wings and the corners and let the 3-ball fly. And they were successful with it last year in their conference play. But again, Syracuse, a 2-3 zone. They're playing against guys that are much longer, both wingspan and height, than they're used to. Syracuse doing a good job of closing out on most of those shots, and Niagara just hasn't been able to hit them as consistently. That's why Syracuse has this big lead right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, previously with guys up top like Alan Griffin, who have a huge reach advantage, still being a forward, so obviously smaller and still very quick, that reach is going to help, especially in this 2-3 zone. I mean, Boeheim gets guys that are catered to his way of defense and offense. So Boeheim's really picked a great squad thus far, and obviously these freshmen or these younger faces have some making up to do. But for the most part, Syracuse is a big, quick, and athletic team. Obviously, Niagara might be a little bit quicker because they're a smaller squad. They have shorter, quicker guys up and down the court, and that's why they seem to be going up and down the court a lot faster than Syracuse. But Syracuse will continue to defend better, no stupid fouls. All the small things are falling into place, like I said earlier, for Syracuse thus far.
Absolutely. Syracuse now, nobody inside the dome, unfortunately, as they show the stands on the live broadcast. It's something that is very unique because that is a dome that is typically Very full, especially for the big games. Maybe not as full this time of year because the students are home for Thanksgiving and Christmas break. Nonetheless, the community usually does a great showing. Basketball has been very anticipated. You'd like to think that if fans were allowed, it would be a pretty good outgoing tonight from the Syracuse community, but the fans and the stands are empty right now inside the dome. Robert Braswell turns it over for Syracuse, tried to get it to Marek Dolezaj, but it was too far past Doley, and out of bounds it goes. Jim Boeheim shaking his head. Robert Braswell knows that one was costly. It's still a 39-20 advantage for the Orange. 4:05 left to go. Now on the left side, Shandon Brown had it for a second, gave it back up to the top. Justin Roberts back into Brown. Kick out inside. Lets one fly from the elbow that time. It was Jordan Cintron, and that one's off the mark. Syracuse still leads it by 19. 3:50 left to go. Three-pointer. Kaderi Richmond off their back rim and out. Rebound to Niagara. Greg Paulus wanted a call against the defense on the rebound. Didn't get it nonetheless. The Purple Eagles still have the possession. Top of the key. Shandon Brown gives it off to the left side. Now Justin Roberts with it. Another pass to the inside. Kobe Nwandu tried to get to the bucket, and Robert Braswell wouldn't let him have anything. Out of bounds it goes off the hands of Justin Roberts. I'm not sure if Jesse Edwards got in the mix at all either. 3:26 left to go. It looks like it'll still be Niagara basketball here. So Nwandu will be the inbound.
Niagara's not afraid to swing that ball around the top of the key and see if they can get plays, but it's a matter of driving into the paint and creating more options.
Nwandu had it for a second. He gave it off. Now it's a three-pointer here. Justin Roberts, and that one rattles around the rim and out. Kaderi Richmond a rebound. Up the left side. Woody Newton driving to the bucket. A blocking foul. Couldn't get the shot to go, but he will take a chance at the free throw line. Syracuse in the bonus now. Niagara 8 fouls. Syracuse 5. 3:10 left to go. Woody Newton, his second trip to the charity stripe here tonight, went 1 for 2 in his first chance. Now Woody Newton has at least one more. So the 1-and-1. It was called the blocking, now the shooting. The 1-and-1 for Woody Newton. And that one's off. Syracuse is not listed in the double bonus. Nonetheless, he does have one more free throw. So I'm curious if they did call it a shooting foul and we are just mistaken, or the ref changed his call, because he definitely called it a block. Nonetheless, Woody Newton, 2 free throws here. So the second one is up, and that one is nothing but net. So Syracuse leads it by 20, 40-20. 3:09 left to go here inside the dome. Now Niagara sharing the ball again. Justin Roberts holds it over to Nwandu. Now Brown. Brown penetrates. Kick out. Three-pointer is up. Off the mark. Justin Roberts couldn't get it to go. Rebound Jesse Edwards, and Syracuse going the other way. Kaderi Richmond driving to the inside. Kicks it over to Braswell. A cutting Braswell tries to get a layup off. And it goes out of bounds off his hands. No foul called. Not tipped away by a Purple Eagle. Just simply Robert Braswell unable to keep a hold on that basketball. It sails way out of bounds, and Niagara takes it back. That's Braswell's second turnover in the last couple of minutes here. 2:30 left to go here inside the dome, first half of action. And Niagara, trailing by 20, would love to get some offensive production going. Three-pointer now, and that one is good. Finally, a three-pointer falls for Niagara. It's Marcus Hammond, the junior guard that we mentioned, 6'2", out of Queens, New York. So a little bit of a homecoming for him as well. That one goes in, 23-40 now. It's a lead for Syracuse. Girard, a pump fake, drives to the inside, carries it like a football, and the ball will stay here. It's tipped away. No fouls on the floor, but Joe Girard really put it in his upper arm like a fullback and tried to get to the bucket, unable to get the shot to go. Nonetheless, the Orange will keep the possession. Kyle, what are you seeing right now?
Well, I'm glad to see Girard try and drive to the inside, and same thing for Braswell earlier. Good use of the pivoted foot when you get to the inside, trying to pass a play around. But so far, these guys just need to get the ball up and in.
A steal here going the other way is Niagara. Layups off the mark, no good. Dolezaj, a pass up to Girard, and swatted off the backboard. Kobe Nwandu, oh my goodness. That was a LeBron James chase down block here, and chaos, sloppy play going back and forth. Syracuse stole it, Dolezaj, then he got his pocket picked, and it looks like this one is off the hands of Shandon Brown, who tried to penetrate the bucket. Still awaiting a call. But on the other end of the court, it was Kobe Nwandu swatting it off the backboard. Joe Girard didn't even see it coming, Kyle. What a play.
Yeah, I mean, that block came from the rafters, seriously. But, I mean, there's just small things like that. It boggles my mind, really, why Boeheim really believes that Girard is kind of catered to this offense because he does all the small things wrong sometimes. You see him get a great passing play from the back of the court, and he takes his time getting it up to the hoop. I mean, Nwandu, nonetheless had a great play right there. But if I were Girard, I mean, you got to get that ball up quick, up and off the glass. But instead, he takes his time, and those are just points that you don't need to waste away like that. Girard needs to play a lot quicker. I mean, he's 6 foot. He's one of the smallest guys in the court. He should be one of the fastest, yet he likes to take his time with things. Dribble the ball up the court, take some unneeded shots, or, doesn't like to get to the inside. And when he does, he takes his time doing it, or he has a lack of confidence when he's in there. So there's just small things like that Girard needs to make happen right now.
So a lot happened there, and it was a foul against the Orange. Shandon Brown hit both of his free throws. Niagara had it within 15, 40-25. But a foul on the other end of the court. Syracuse, Kadary Richmond drove to the inside, and there's a foul called. It's a blocking foul. Richmond will be sent to the line for 2 free throws. 1:26 left to go. Richmond first free throw up and good. It's 41-25. Foul against McDonald. Greg Paulus is going to pull him out. That's his second. And Kadary Richmond 7 points already, 3 for 5, filling in for Buddy Boeheim. Richmond's second free throw is up. That one's good. So he's been very consistent at the charity stripe for Syracuse, and now the lead is 42-25, a 17-pointer for the Orange. 1:20 left to go. Niagara moving quickly. Nwandu on the left side. Girard's there. Now over. A three-pointer for Hammond is up, and he hits 2 in a row for the Purple Eagles. He let one fly just a minute ago, and that one fell, and that one does it as well. So Girard takes it. Niagara still keeping this one semi-close. 42-28 lead for Syracuse inside a minute to go. Dolezaj, tightly guarded, gives it off to Kadary Richmond. He's got a step back, dribbling through his legs. A nice pump fake, and he gets to the lane easily. No problem for him, but they're not going to count the bucket. They say that he traveled, actually. So a travel against Kadary Richmond. A little bit too much fancy footwork here by the freshman, and he gives the ball back to Niagara. That's his second turnover here tonight. 8 total turnovers for Syracuse, 5 for Niagara. And Niagara winning that battle right now. Syracuse just not really taking care of the basketball the way that Jim Boeheim would like him to. Hammond, another 3. That one doesn't fall. So he almost went 3 for 3 from three-point land, but he now is 2 for 1. Rebound, Alan Griffin. Pass to Guerrier is tipped, kept in bounds. But they will see that Nwandu stepped out of bounds with his back heel after trying to save that ball. It'll still be Syracuse possession, 27 seconds left to go, 42-28 lead for the Orange. Jim Boeheim does not look happy right now, despite the high-scoring affair right now for Syracuse. Hammond couldn't get a 3 to fly. And now the Orange will have an inbound opportunity, 26 seconds left. You got to think this is something that they might kind of draw up here. 20 seconds left in the shot clock, now 17 and counting. Kadary Richmond off to Alan Griffin. Alan Griffin, a pop. Lets one fly from the elbow. That one rolls around the rim and is off the mark. So now Niagara with 13 seconds to go. Syracuse still leading by a big margin. No shot clock right now inside the dome. Hammond gives it off. Drive to the inside. Pop out. Three-pointer is up and off the mark for Justin Roberts. Alan Griffin had it, and that will do it for the first half of action inside the dome. Syracuse, a 42-28 advantage in their second game of the season. Niagara hanging in there, but the Orange, with an offensive onslaught late in the half, really gets them ahead. 42-28 after one. Kyle, what are you seeing out of both squads?
Yeah, I mean, Niagara's really struggling to get on the inside. Syracuse's 2-3 zone has looked great, especially with guys like Alan Griffin up top with some great reach. They're really covering the distance correctly. Niagara kind of living and dying by that three-point shot, as you said earlier, and so far they're dying by it. Usually a good three-point shooting squad. Like we said, Hammond's one of those dudes who can really shoot 46% from the field or from three-point land last year for Niagara. But for Syracuse, I mean, Girard really isn't getting the offensive production as he should, but the rest of the guys are picking up, kind of replacing the offensive efficiency that we're missing right now from guys like Hughes in the squad last year and guys like Buddy Boeheim, who aren't on the court tonight, but should be due to COVID implications. So obviously these guys are kind of spreading the wealth. We see newer guys like Woody Newton getting time on there, Braswell getting on the court as well. Also Jesse Edwards, but these guys are doing the small things right so far, and Syracuse is looking solid with this 14-point lead.
Couldn't agree with you more, Marchak. And a look at some of the stats. Quincy Guerrier leading the way for the Orange right now in points. 12 of them, 5 for 5 from the field, and 1 for 1 from the free throw line. So Quincy Guerrier leads the way for Syracuse with 12 points. On the other side, it's Hammond with only 8 points. He's 3 for 8 from the field. He hit a couple of three-pointers to get Niagara going with a little bit of momentum. Rebound leaders, Hammond also leads the team in rebounds right now with 4. And Quincy Guerrier leads it for Syracuse with 7. And as far as assists go, it's Nuandu for Niagara with 4, and then Alan Griffin with 3 assists so far. So Merritt Dolezaj's had a couple of nice plays. Alan Griffin has had some buckets. Now, it's nice to see that the leading scorer in a 42-point first half is only Quincy Guerrier with 12, because that means that there is 30 other points to be shared around throughout the entire team. So it's really been a plethora of offensive production from the entire squad for Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a whole cornucopia of different faces on the court tonight for Syracuse, really spreading the wealth. So that's great to see that Boeheim's getting all those young faces on. So looking really solid, spreading the wealth, like I said. But you got to wonder, there's one thing missing, really. I mean, we were mentioning earlier how Merrick Dolezaj is kind of a guy who's really athletic, although he's under the center position tonight. Athletic and can kind of spread that wealth through assists. He's usually the assist leader. Obviously, he's only one down from Alan Griffin early on. But he's only on track for maybe 6 or so assists tonight. Dolezaj could really help the offensive efficiency by, driving in the paint, although he's usually set in the paint already, and spreading the wealth for the assist, kicking the ball out to the wing, seeing what he can do with it. He's really, sometimes he has that ball in a string for a big guy. He's really good at that. And Alan Griffin is good at that as well, as we've seen. And so is Quincy Guerrier, looking at his highlights right now, looking well in the paint. So these guys just need to spread the wealth from the paint as opposed to getting some big jump shots, whether it's deep 2s or deep 3s.
Kyle Marchak here with the perfect analysis, and it's the perfect time to take a break here on Orange Heat for halftime. Syracuse leads it after 42-28 inside the Dome. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as the second half will get going in just about 10-15 minutes or so. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Orange Heat. 42-28 lead for Syracuse after 1. And welcome back inside the Carrier Dome as Syracuse and Niagara get the action back going for the second half. Syracuse leads it 42-28 over the Purple Eagles right now. And we have just begun the second half of action inside the Carrier Dome. Quick penetration here. Guerrier couldn't get one to go. Rebound Niagara, and they'll head the other way. The 12-3 run for Niagara that ended the first half, drawing this game just a little bit closer. Syracuse still leads at 42-28, and we've played just about 45 seconds or so thus far. Niagara really slowing down the tempo here. Nwandu at the top, kicks it over to Roberts on the left side. Roberts, a floater from the left, and he couldn't get it to go. Rebound this time, and Crotham couldn't nail one either. It's a rebound Syracuse. Quincy Guerrier, and the Orange will take it the other way. Guerrier dribbles through his legs, gets it poked away, but Kadari Richmond was there to get it back for the Orange. Richmond over to Joe Girard on the left side. Girard dribbling it through his legs. Some movement here, setting up a play. Guerrier with a pick. Girard, kick out. Dolezaj from three, and that one's off the front rim and out. So not even close for Merrick Dolezaj. Not usually his shot there, but nonetheless, the Orange are back. They lead at 42-28, 8:28 left to go. Penetrating on the inside, a great feed and a bucket that time. Nicholas Crotham again on the inside. He's been big in the first half for Niagara, getting them on the board early here, Kyle.
Yeah, it looks like this game, as a lot of basketball games turn out to be, is it's going to be a game of streaks. So they have to stop the momentum and hinder the success of Niagara's offense right now because, like you said, they ended on that 12-3 run. It looks like they're extending it right now. Going to a 14-3 run right now for probably the past 5 or so minutes. So you have to hinder that momentum for Niagara right now. Look for both teams to try and stretch the court and perhaps slow the game down, although Niagara's been playing fast all night.
Girard drives, a nice pump fake and a floater from the elbow. Count it. Joe Girard getting Syracuse on the board now for the first play of the second half. A nice pump fake, and he let one fly from the elbow around the ACC logo. A nice looking jumper floater from Joe Girard III. Now Niagara really slowing it down at the other end here. Drive, penetration, kick out for Hammond, and that one was taken away by Kadari Richmond moving quickly up the court. Richmond driving to the inside. He lost the ball out to Alan Griffin. Griffin steps in the three-point arc and lets one fly. That one's off the mark. Guerrier rebound, and he finally converts. So Syracuse with a quick 2-point swing here. Quincy Guerrier dominant on the glass and puts a layup in Syracuse. 46-30, 17:09 left to go.
Yeah, Gary, the biggest guy on the court for Syracuse right now, looking a little bit better on the glass. And so is the rest of the roster so far. But immediately off the bat, I'm liking what Girard is doing. We saw him try and start with a pick-and-roll type of play, kicked out to Dolezaj. Of course, he missed that three-point shot, but that's not necessarily his shot in general under center tonight, actually. But Girard kind of driving in and hitting more shots. We saw him driving in a two-pointer from the elbow. We haven't seen that from him in actually a while as he pulls up for three again and misses. So we'd like to see Girard drive in more often and create more plays, whether for himself or his teammates. We like to see these guys be more selfless and distribute the ball. Dolezaj is good at that. Seems like everyone on the court is capable of it, yet they're not doing it.
So Dolezaj will take a trip to the free throw line after rebounding the miss and putting up a layup. The shot did not fall, but he will take two shots from the charity stripe after being fouled. Dolezaj, the first one is off the front rim, but does trickle in the net. So it's a 47-30 lead for Syracuse, 16:36 left to go in the second half. Syracuse leading it by a 17-point margin. Now make it 18. Merrick Dolezaj goes 2 for 2 from the line. And now going the other way with it, it's Justin Roberts. He missed a three just a play ago and nearly coughs up the ball trying to pass it over to Hammond. Hammond able to get a hold of it. And clock is ticking here for Niagara. This game moving at a quick pace, and so is the freshman, Kadari Richmond. A steal in open court and has no problem. Contested, but lays it in. Syracuse leads it by 20, 50-30, Kyle. What a play out of the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we're long up top, and look at that steal and good speed up the court, lays it up and in, getting that hand right up near the rim and, just kissing it off the glass. It's a great play by him right there. And these freshmen up top are looking really solid defensively.
It's an 8-0 scoring run for Syracuse. Girard gets its pocket picked from behind by Nwandu, and now a three-pointer is put up and off the mark. Rebound here offensively for Crotham. He got a couple of them, and he couldn't get a layup to go. And he's shaking his head. So is his head coach, former Syracuse quarterback, Greg Paulus. So a timeout here on the floor. Looks like it is for Syracuse, and we'll take a break here inside the Dome, but we got plenty more coverage to get at you, Kyle. So if you're Niagara, what are you trying to do to really claw your way back into this game? An 8-0 run early in the second half for Syracuse, that's not the answer.
Well, Niagara obviously lacking somewhat of the athletic ability and basic shot selection and shot making for themselves in order to keep themselves in this game. Obviously, Syracuse with better athleticism, better shot making ability currently right now. So Niagara has to ask themselves, what can they do to make the shot making ability easier? Well, they're putting up 3-pointers like there's no tomorrow. They're going to live and die by that, like we've said. So it's up to them to drive in, maybe, kind of a 1-2 play, drive in and kick out to the wing. That's something that can live and die on. But, forget about the 3-point shots. They have quick, tall guys on the inside that they can get up and off the glass. They need to start kissing some layups off the glass. I have yet to see really a sequence where a ton of layups have been kissed in for Niagara. They really don't have a guy who can, from the top of the key, drive through the defense and make a play. So they're really struggling on the inside, which is why they're living and dying by that 3-pointer. So if they continue to miss these 3-pointers, I don't see any future success for Niagara tonight.
Syracuse had 3 guys with a double-double in the opener against Bryant, and count Quincy Guerrier now into that conversation for game number 2. 14 points right now, 6 for 7 from the field. And Quincy Guerrier also now with 10 rebounds. Still plenty of time on the clock, 16:36 to be exact. Syracuse leads it 48-30 inside the Dome as of right now. Still during a timeout. Currently, it was a TV timeout, so nothing is going to be taken off the grid for either teams. That was just assessed. But nonetheless, Quincy Guerrier has been pretty dominant inside for Syracuse. He has been doing exactly what you said Niagara needs to do. He's been driving to the bucket, but he's really been scrappy off the board, and a lot of his points have been second chance points off of other Syracuse misses from outside. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the rebounding on the inside is looking really sloppy right now. It's just one of those small things for both teams that they need to focus on. There's other small things missing from this Syracuse team that's looking somewhat uncharacteristic as well. Boeheim usually runs a really tight ship, and he likes those guys to really make their foul shots. I'd imagine he's one of those guys that makes you hit a certain number of foul shots before you leave the gym. It's one of those basic things and basic tools you need to have as a basketball player. Yet for some reason, guys like Girard are lacking that right now. I'm not really sure what's going on with Girard. He hasn't had the hottest start to the 2020-2021 season. But you need to be able to make those foul shots. We saw Gary at the end of the last the Bryant Syracuse game missing a huge foul shot at the end of the game. So there's small things like that you need to be able to do. Obviously, Dolezaj and Gary, some of the bigger guys, may not be as big as or good at that, but they're all forwards on the court, essentially, forwards or guards. They should be able to hit those shots. Girard, a guy who usually can hit those foul shots, usually a guy who can hit those streaks. Of course, we've had Tyus Battle, who was a great foul shooter. So there's a history of excellent guards who can really hit those foul shots. So why not instill that in these young men? Well, COVID's gotten in the way. All sorts of stuff have really gotten in the way of these guys getting those small things down right now. So I'd like to see that fall in place for Syracuse.
Now back in action at the Dome, Syracuse leads it 50-30, 15:07 left to go, and a costly turnover here for Greg Paulus' squad as Jalen Roberts couldn't corral a pass from Marcus Hammond, and it sails out of bounds. Syracuse will take the ball back. Dolezaj to inbound it to Joe Girard. Kadari Richmond in the ball game for Syracuse alongside Alan Griffin and Quincy Guerrier. So back to the starting 5 to start the second half. Dolezaj driving from the outside, a nice spin move, and he kisses one off the back of the iron and in through the hoop. 52-30 lead for Syracuse with just under 15 minutes to go. Man, was that a pretty play out of the senior from Slovakia.
Yeah, and there we see that that athleticism on the inside. We're seeing that height helping guys finally for Syracuse. On the previous play defensively for Syracuse, they actually forced that turnover, which was awesome. That's the second backcourt violation as a result of struggling to pass back out to the top of the key for Niagara when they drive into the paint, because it's so tough with tall guys like Dolezaj on the inside who kind of block you off, really struggling to get, that zip on the ball back out to your guard from the top of the key. So Niagara struggling with the size problems right now, and Syracuse vice versa.
Three-pointer off the mark for Hammond, and now the rebound by Alan Griffin. Up the court, Guerrier, an easy two for Syracuse, and Greg Paulus and company will call a timeout. It's a 54-30 lead for the Orange with just under 14 and a half minutes to go. Syracuse dominating in their second matchup inside the Dome. Man, that practice really pays off, Kyle.
Yeah, they're looking really solid right now. I mean, finally with practice under the belt, those small things are falling into place.
So Syracuse really just a dominant offensive performance here thus far tonight. And Quincy Guerrier has been the story. He now has up to 16 points tonight, dominant off the glass as well. And Syracuse really just proving to be the better team than Niagara. This is what we expected in game one against Bryant. We didn't get it. This team without Betty Boeheim. How good do you think this Syracuse team can be in the ACC this year? Obviously, they're going to have Buddy back next go around. That adds, your leading scorer and really one of the leading three-point shooters in the Atlantic Coast Conference last year. So how good do you think Syracuse can be?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Obviously, the ACC is very competitive. But to see them already kind of replicating or reproducing the offensive efficiency that they're missing in Elijah Hughes, and as well as Buddy Boeheim tonight. Of course, Hughes got drafted, but Betty Boeheim missing because of COVID problems. It's good to see that they improve quickly, especially with practice keep flowing in now. It's awesome to see. But in the ACC, it's very competitive. Honestly, we've seen, historically speaking, that it's questionable every year. You could swear that you have a good Syracuse squad, but then there's problems that get in the way, of course. It could be a lack of depth at the center position or a lack of depth in general. But I think the Syracuse squad, despite young, has great depth this year. Obviously, with Sidibe down, we're going to have guys like Dolja in at center. Seeing guys like Edwards, Jean Bolajak, and Anselm all getting a little bit of minutes so far this year is actually very promising to see, because usually Boeheim doesn't get those guys in the court. So I believe personally, as long as Boeheim continues to get everybody on the court and spreading the wealth, this could be a really well-rounded team, something that you don't see often in college basketball, usually more top-heavy with their guards running the offense and their centers really running the defense for obvious reasons. But yeah, I think the future success of Syracuse is kind of eminent with this spread-out wealth of success and talent on the team right now.
I couldn't agree with you more, Kyle. I think this might be the year where Syracuse isn't necessarily that bubble team. I feel like we could be in a position where we go into the season, or the postseason, I should say, just feeling comfortable knowing that, hey, I'm not saying we're going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, but knowing that you're not on the bubble, that you sit okay with a 5 or a 6 seed, and you have that confidence. You're not necessarily, nailing or biting your nails come selection Sunday. But we're back underway inside the Dome. Justin Roberts, the point guard for Niagara, has it at the top. He dishes it off. Left side, McDonald. He gives a nice pump fake on the pass, but Niagara still has nothing going offensively. Now a kick out to the left side. New man in for Niagara right now. It's Greg Kukumensa, and a score here by Kukumensa for the Niagara Purple Eagles. So it's 32-54. Syracuse leads it by a whole bunch. 14:02 left to go. Kaderi Richmond on the left side gives it off to Dolajai at the top of the key. Back to Richmond. Richmond with a pump fake, a spin move, driving to the inside. Lets a jumper go from the ACC logo free throw line. He couldn't get it to hit. Guerrier with a rebound, goes up for a layup. The layup's no good, but he gets fouled, and he'll be sent to the free throw line. Man, how good has Quincy Guerrier been on the glass tonight? That's his 12th rebound. He's got 16 points, a chance to put some more on the board right now as well. He's having himself a phenomenal year thus far. It's very early, but you saw that at the end of last season. He continued to grow. He became that sixth man for Syracuse. The biggest thing for me was his production down low and how good he was rebounding the basketball. First one hits off the iron, no good. But how good has Guerrier's leap from year 1 to 2 been so far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been awesome, obviously. Boeheim really good at really producing the right type of looks for these young men. Gary has gotten a lot stronger and a lot bigger since last season, so he's playing more and more like a center despite being a forward, but he's extremely athletic at his position. He can shoot threes, but of course he belongs more on the inside so far. He's a great rebounder, so all the facets of his game are improving a lot.
Kukumensa couldn't get one to fall. Rebound now for the freshman, Kaderi Richmond. Gives it off to Girard. He's going to have a contested 2 up and good. Joe Girard, man, that was a difficult shot, but he buried it for Syracuse. It's a 57-32 lead with 13:21 left to go inside the Dome. Now McDonald on the other side. Roberts, a kick to the inside. Kukumensa couldn't get one to go. That one's tipped in. And, of course, it's the big man now, Kobe Nwandu. He got that one to fall. Kadari Richmond moving closely on the other side, and Syracuse wants a response. Dolezaj top of the key. Up to Girard, and they slow down the tempo a little bit here, allowing the play to develop. Alan Griffin kicks it to the inside. Guerrier tried to dunk it home, but he'll get fouled again, putting Syracuse closer and closer to the bonus. Each time he pulls down a rebound, guys are coming over his back. He's just that dominant. He couldn't get the dunk to fall, but he was fouled, and he's taking another trip to the free throw line.
Yeah, Gary looking more and more athletic and emphatic on the inside. He's a really strong guy at his position. 17 points tonight and 7 for 8 in field goals with 12 rebounds. And you have to think he's so athletic, hell, he could get numbers up for assists too. I mean, he's already in double figures. I mean, he's looking really well-rounded tonight in the paint.
So some substitutions here for Niagara, Kyle, and I couldn't agree with you more. And the cool thing about Guerrier as well is really it's driving home, and the free throw is up and good. It's a 59-34 lead for Syracuse, 12:50 left to go. But the cool thing about Guerrier is it's really just driving home the importance of that Canadian pipeline that Syracuse has developed. It really started with Tyler Ennis, then it went to O'Shea Brissett, and now Quincy Guerrier, the powerful forward here for Syracuse, coming out of Canada as well. So that pipeline has been established by this Syracuse team and Jim Boeheim and the coaching staff, and they've utilized it extremely well.
Yeah, I mean, you see that with a lot of teams in New York, but Boeheim does it best. I know there's a couple Canadians on Niagara. Of course, them being right near the border, that makes sense. But Syracuse being a central New York team, it's interesting for them to reach out so far looking for this talent. Obviously, we're seeing Marek Dolezaj playing well right now, and he's from Slovakia. So Boeheim's really good at recruiting. There's no denying that.
Absolutely. Now Niagara trying to put some points on the board. 59-34 lead for the Orange, 12:22 and counting left to go. Some new faces here in for Niagara. 3-pointers up. That one rolls around the rim. Couldn't go. Quincy Guerrier tack on another rebound for that man. The sophomore having a big game tonight for Syracuse. Give to Guerrier on the inside. What a pass to Dolezaj. Dolezaj kicks it out. Girard 3 off the iron and no good. Niagara a rebound. McDonald was able to pull it away. Nobody can to contest the rebound. McDonald, a deep 3 from the logo. That one doesn't fall. It's kept in bounds for the moment. Kadari Richmond comes out to make a play. He gets a contested layup to fall. And what a cluster of events to go right there. But Kadari Richmond converts for the Orange.
Richmond with a little tip drill right there, getting that ball out, poking it to himself up the court, and he had that ball in a string right there. These boys are really athletic right now for Syracuse.
I've been extremely impressed with Kadari Richmond alongside Quincy Guerrier, just as you have tonight, Kyle. 61-34 lead for the Orange, and another steal for the freshman. Up to Alan Griffin. Griffin, pass to the inside. Guerrier dunks it home. Oh, my goodness. Quincy Guerrier, have yourself a day inside the dome, young buck.
Guerrier looking really solid on the inside. He's creating his own space, getting open for the right passes, and the passing is looking absolutely excellent for Syracuse. Like I said before half, I'd like to see those assist numbers get up. I was personally thinking more about Dolezaj, but all these guys are sharing the ball right now. The wealth is really being spread for Syracuse in the offensive end.
Niagara just got a free bucket there that time. It was Shendon Brown who got the bucket for Niagara. It was a pass to the inside, clearly hit off of Dolezaj's foot. He was able to pick it up. They didn't call it, and instead it was a bucket for Niagara. 3 is off the mark here for Alan Griffin. Dolezaj the rebound. Couldn't get the shot to go. Guerrier gets the rebound, and now he puts one in. Quincy Guerrier once again. Wow. Quincy Guerrier is all over the place tonight for Syracuse, having himself the best game of his career. He leads scoring, he leads rebounding, and what a double-double it's been, and he continues to tack on the points and the boards. Give him one more both ways right there. McDonald, the pump fake, kicks it out to the left side. Mid-range jumper for Niagara. That one's off the mark. Offensive rebound. Guerrier sends it away with a block, and Joe Girard has it going the other way for Syracuse, slowing down the tempo. Girard, crossover, 2 in a row, kicks it out. Kadari Richmond, top of the key 3, off the back rim and out, and it got exciting for a second there. The artificial crowd would have exploded had that shot fallen, Kyle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Syracuse is looking with supreme confidence right now. And in the success of Quincy Guerrier, with that, he's a rebounding machine. He can end up 20-20 tonight for all we wonder. You got to wonder where Joe Girard is. I mean, he's supposed to be the guy manning the offense. Meanwhile, they're putting up shots on the inside, which is great for Syracuse, and Guerrier cleaning up the mess for the most part. But you got to wonder where Girard is. He should be that guy driving in and dishing those balls out. Obviously more of a three-point shooter, but he's quick enough to make those plays happen. If he could get on the inside and dish it off to guys like Dolezaj or Guerrier, he could get in this mess and get those assist numbers up as well. I think that would help Syracuse to continue this momentum. But thus far, Richmond, Guerrier, everybody's getting touches, looking absolutely excellent tonight so far, Gio.
Absolutely going back and forth. A couple of missed three-pointers. Girard felt confident, let one fly on a pull-up. Couldn't get it to go. Niagara, the same situation, but a timeout called by Jim Boeheim in Syracuse with a big lead right now. They have 65 points so far. Low scoring compared to the first outing of this season. Syracuse would like to score more than that, but that's kind of been the game. The field goal percentage really isn't that strong for either side right now, but it's been enough for Syracuse to hold a big lead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that field goal percentage is going to steadily increase throughout the game for Syracuse because now they're not really chucking up as much three-point shots. This is the best type of basketball for Syracuse, or really just the best type of basketball in NCAA Division I in general, because these guys aren't chucking up huge three-point shots. They're dishing in. They're trying to create more opportunities. They're all playmakers on the court tonight. Even Quincy Guerrier, who's a really large forward, really a similar size to most centers in the NCAA today. But it's good to see the athleticism on display for Syracuse. And for Niagara, they have to continue to drive the ball and see if they can create more opportunities for themselves, as right now they're still living and dying by that three-point shot. That's kind of the reason for the lack of success for Niagara. But otherwise, both teams have looked solid defensively, which is great to see. This is a really good display of athleticism tonight on the court and here in the Carrier Dome, excuse me.
The zone has looked, impenetrable is what I would use to describe it. Niagara just not having the ability to get to the inside, and when the zone breaks, someone's there to recover. You saw it. Quincy Guerrier, a play, a little bit of a slip up there by someone else in the zone. I think it was Kaderi Richmond. They got it inside, and Guerrier was there to send it away with a huge block, giving it right back. So Syracuse playing extremely well defensively. Guerrier is definitely playing his best basketball right now. Kaderi Richmond having himself a game as well. He's got over 10 points tonight, and we've seen a lot of good production out of the freshman.
Yeah, I mean, how about the freshman, Kaderi Richmond, looking really good? Like you said, I mean, from the top, he's looking better with the dribbling. He's looking quicker and quicker every game. Of course, we're only 2 games in so far, but he's really good at getting that ball up and off the glass. I mean, for a forward, he's extremely quick. I love the athleticism in this kid. He has 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists tonight, along with 3 steals. I mean, he's in all, facets of the game right now, looking really athletic.
Syracuse fans were extremely excited for this young man to come in and play for Syracuse, along with Woody Newton, but especially Kaderi Richmond getting the start tonight due to Buddy Boeheim being out because of contact tracing and COVID-19 related issues. But Kaderi Richmond stepping up big for the Orange and certainly filling the big shoes of Buddy Boeheim. He got big minutes last week as well, though, a contributor off the bench, now really getting that starting role for the first time. In for Syracuse now, you see John Bolajak, which is something that Syracuse fans have to be excited to see. A 6'10", 215-pound redshirt freshman out of South Sudan. And Alan Griffin turns it over with a travel. 9:13 left to go. Syracuse leads it 65-36. Nearly a 30-point lead for the Orange right now, and it's definitely their biggest of the night. Niagara heading the other way. 12 turnovers to the Orange have been costly. Niagara with the same number as well, 12 turnovers for the Purple Eagles. Penetrating to the inside. Kicked out now by Roberts. Pump fake. Driving in. Floater won't go. Rebound Woody Newton for Syracuse, and Joe Girard has it going the other way. So John Bolajak, Robert Braswell, and Woody Newton into the game alongside Alan Griffin and Joe Girard. Woody Newton on the left side. Pump fake. Lets it go to Girard, and Girard will slow down the tempo once again near that Carrier logo and the SU logo. John Bolajak comes up to set a screen. Give over. Wide open 3 for Alan Griffin. He couldn't get it to go. Robert Braswell a rebound. There is a foul on the floor, and it'll go against Robert Braswell. A little bit of an over-the-back call. Niagara will take it the other way.
Yeah, we see Braswell on the court. A lot of new faces getting on right here, especially as this lead lengthens with only 8.5 to go for Syracuse. But I just love the excitement in these guys' faces. I mean, you can kind of tell that when they get on the court with those fresh legs, they're looking really bouncy with their steps. It's really fun to see. These guys are really quick, and they're really all over the place with this 2-3 zone.
A foul on the inside. A three-pointer was up and good for Marcus Hammond. and it will not count. It's a 65-36 lead still for Syracuse. 8:14 left to go. John Bolajak is the guilty party with the foul. Just a little bit too much. It's a simple reach, and now Niagara to inbound. Gets it over to Roberts. Roberts trapped in the corner. Here comes that zone. Robert Braswell, along with Alan Griffin, all over him, and he converts a travel. That's what you love to do. Brown coughs it up, and now Syracuse will take it the other way. What a play by that zone to come and trap him in the corner, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly how the zone should be working. Boeheim's done a great job at making this zone work to their favor tonight. We saw in that Bryant game to open up the season that zone really didn't help them that much. As a matter of fact, they saw Bryant's pace was so fast for Syracuse that they actually started with man in a full court press. So it's good to see Boeheim slowed this game down in his favor and gotten the boys to stretch the court and kind of use that 2-3 zone to their advantage tonight, as they should be. Historically speaking, that's the way Syracuse runs their defense.
Girard drove to the inside. He lost it. Out of bounds it went. And now Niagara will take it the other way following this TV timeout. Syracuse leads it by a large margin, 65-36 with 7:55 left to go on the clock. They're going to take a break inside the dome, but we don't do that here, Kyle, do we? So Syracuse with a big lead now, 30 points. How do you just kind of ice this thing away, kill some clock, but also put up some points on the board? A lot of new faces in for Syracuse. You saw some of these guys getting some burn earlier in the game, and this is the time for it. Guys like Woody Newton, John Bolajak, Robert Braswell. What do you think about them getting into the game at this point, and how Syracuse can kind of just continue this momentum? It's a huge gap. At this point, it almost feels insurmountable with 7:55 left, but they do need to push forward for sure.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a huge gap, and obviously Niagara is going to continue to press the pace, and for that reason alone, I'm going to believe that although Boeheim may want to slow this game down and continue to wash it away, it'll still remain a high-paced game as it has, because Niagara is still trying to man this pace and push up the court, kind of back and forth. It's looked a little bit like a tennis match thus far, because it's really just been back and forth, as I said. And obviously getting those newer guys on the court too, like Braswell, and maybe even Frank Enslin will see his face soon as well. Of course, we have a couple more centers to put in the rotation. You're going to see this game probably still stay with a high pace. When these new faces get in the court, you see kind of the excitement, especially when they're in that 2-3 zone. The defense is looking really quick, so more steals will come out of Niagara, a lot of turnovers perhaps. It's been a little bit of a sloppy game on Niagara's side, and I think it'll continue to look like that, Gio.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And my question really is, we're not going to know the answer, but who is it that has COVID for Syracuse, and who are the people out with contact tracing? The obvious one is Buddy Boeheim. Simple. We know that right now, obviously. But for the rest of them, I mean, it's a question mark. We don't know. Maybe Frank Anselin can't play today because he's out due to having COVID or contact tracing. I was suspecting that possibly John Bolajak, because on Buddy Boeheim's takeover of the Syracuse Instagram, he was hanging out with John Bolajak a lot that day. I just kind of wondered if that would be a situation nonetheless. He's in the game today. So they're not going to put that out. They're a private university. They don't have to. They certainly are going to protect the safety and the privacy of their players. So you probably won't see who actually has it or anything like that. But, you just wonder. I'm surprised they're playing tonight, but we're certainly grateful for it.
No, yeah, you're right. And I really like those detective skills there, Gio. But, I mean, in the chaos of college hoops today, you'll really never know. I mean, Syracuse obviously being a private university, we may never know. And with the chaos of COVID, we're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. We're back to basketball. 7:50 and counting left to go inside the dome. Niagara with the ball, 65-36 lead for Syracuse, a 29-pointer. And now Niagara with it, pass to the inside. They're getting some new faces in. Kicks out. Three-pointer is off the mark. Rebound now by Robert Braswell. It was a good one. And over to Joe Girard to push the pace a little bit and slow it down. John Bolajak, really, you could tell that he's excited to be out there. He's just playing with a certain kind of energy right now, despite having a nearly 30-point advantage. And it's cool to see that. It's just very evident. Joe Girard at the top, being patient with it, over to Braswell. Braswell, pump fake, driving now to the inside. He lost control of it. A foul. It's going to be a reach-in against Niagara. Girard put up a three-pointer from the top of the key wide open, and it doesn't count, though he did strike nothing but net. A reach-in foul now on the floor. Some substitutions for Niagara as Greg Kukamensa is going to come back into the game, and we're back to basketball. Girard in the corner with it. Tightly guarded, driving to the inside, kicks out. Woody Newton, a pump fake. a spin move, and he's still halted at the top of the key. Gives it off to Alan Griffin. Griffin loses his dribble, and it's a steal going the other way. Niagara with a 1-on-2. This one's blocked off the backboard by Woody Newton. Alan Griffin with a huge athletic block, and now he has it in space. A 2-on-2 going the other way. Griffin, dish to the inside. John Bolajak couldn't get it, and it's picked off in the middle by Kuka Mensah, and Niagara has it back. So a little bit of excitement. 6:30 left to go. Now losing the ball again, but a reach-in foul against Woody Newton. Justin Roberts was carrying for Niagara. Woody Newton converts the foul. Kadari Richmond will check into the game now for Alan Griffin.
Yeah, and just as I suspected, Gio, this game is not slowing down whatsoever. Niagara continuing to press with a high pace. This game's going to really look probably a similar pace throughout the rest of the 6.5 minutes.
Absolutely. 6:30 left to go. Syracuse still leading at 65-36. We've gone a handful of minutes without any scoring. McDonald for three in the corner. That one's pure. Niagara responds back 39-65. It's a lead for Syracuse. 6:16 left to go, but that was a big three out of McDonald in the corner. Kadari Richmond with it at the top of the key. Gives it over to his co-freshman, Woody Newton. Woody Newton gives it back to Gerard. Now Kadari Richmond again, a pump fake. Dribbles through his legs. The ball handles on him are good, but he lost it. Taken away by Niagara. Passed up the court. That one's taken away again. Now on the inside. Robert Braswell couldn't get a layup to go, and he got stuffed by the rim on that one. Out of bounds it went. Syracuse will hold it, and Braswell is certainly kind of hanging his head there a little bit because that should have been two.
Yeah, Braswell's had some really poor body language thus far. I mean, obviously not really impacting the game as much as he'd like to, but with some good confidence, you'll see some better shot opportunities out of him. Obviously, that's a missed opportunity right there. Just some small things that these younger faces need to control.
Gerard now with it, tightly guarded, gives it off to Newton. Newton driving to the inside, off the backboard, couldn't get it to go. Now kicked out. Gerard gets the rebound, over to Newton in the corner. Newton a pump fake, won't let it fly, over to Braswell. Braswell for three. That one hits off the rim, kisses off the glass. No good. Rebound here by Kuka Mensah, but it will be a foul on the floor. Kuka Mensah going up for the rebound, commits his second, and Syracuse will keep the possession alive. 5:30 to go, 20 seconds in the shot clock. It's a 65-39 lead for the Orange. Now some substitutions again. Justin Roberts back into the ball game for the Purple Eagles. Coming out of the game now is Shandon Brown, and as I said, Roberts in for him. Scoreless in the last 4 minutes and 56 seconds for Syracuse. That clock continues to wind. 65-39 lead. Gerard pump fake, driving to the inside, lets a contested jumper go off the rim and out. And now it is Niagara going the other way with it. Syracuse over 5 minutes now without a single bucket. Kick out, nobody home. Kuka Mensah is able to control it. John Bolajak was there, and Woody Newton took it away. Kadari Richmond pushing the tempo, going up the court. An easy two for Kadari Richmond, and he breaks the streak where Syracuse didn't score for 5.5 minutes. Nonetheless, it's a bucket for the freshman. He's got himself over a dozen. It's a timeout, Niagara. 67-39 lead for the Orange. 4:54 left to go, and a timeout on the court. So, Kyle, what are you seeing right now?
I mean, obviously still back and forth, but this is really going to be a game of streaks, like we said. Obviously, Syracuse likely to dissipate away with this game in their favor with 5 minutes to go here. But that streak actually says a lot more than what viewers may think. To see Syracuse go on a long streak right there where they're letting Niagara kind of inch their way back up, it's really concerning because actually, if you do recall, just out of halftime, I believe Niagara almost inched within single digits of Syracuse. Obviously, since then, Syracuse has ran away with it. But to see them run in streaks like this can be concerning because all of a sudden Niagara may be back in this game in the next 5 minutes unless Syracuse decides to hinder their offensive output and continue to press their momentum on the offensive end.
No, I agree. It's still a huge margin. Syracuse leads at 67-39, 28 points to be exact. And there is just 4 minutes and 56 seconds left to go on the clock. But I think, too, contributing right now to Syracuse kind of stalling out points-wise after scoring pretty easily throughout the game is the fact that look who's playing. John Bolajak in there, Robert Braswell, Woody Newton, Kadari Richmond, a handful of freshmen, some guys that have never really played big minutes like John Bolajak and Robert Braswell. Some guys in there right now that are really Jim Boeheim's testing them out. This is their opportunity to step up. And they're not necessarily stepping up to the plate, but they're getting the job done as well defensively, which has been good to see.
Yeah, they've looked somewhat defensively sound. Of course, they're letting Niagara drive a little bit better, but with the size on the inside, Niagara's offensive output really hasn't changed because of so. Gerard off the court right now. You have to be wondering what he's thinking with somewhat of a lackluster game, second time in a row. But yeah, I mean, to get these younger guys reps will be awesome. And it can actually be really pivotal to the success of Syracuse in the future. Because if we're getting a guy like John Bolajak in, who's supposed to be one of our number one centers, if he produces good minutes defensively and offensively, that can change the mind of Boeheim, thinking perhaps I can actually put Jean Bolajak on the inside as opposed to Merrick Dolajai, who isn't a true center.
Absolutely. Foul on the inside. 4:36 left to go. Niagara has the ball. They trail Syracuse 67-39. 20 seconds will be left in the shot clock once Niagara resumes here. Jim Boeheim really doesn't look happy, and they keep panning back to Joe Girard, struggling for his second game in a row. McDonald gets fouled. It looks like it was against Woody Newton. And Girard still, they continue to pan to him, and the frustration, you can see it in his face, and you can see his wheels churning a little bit in his mind. Nonetheless, we still have 4.5 minutes left to go inside the dome. Kukamensa, kick out. McDonald gets his three-pointer blocked away. Merrick Dolajai chasing after the rebound. Kadari Richmond gets it. A lob up to Woody Newton, and it's an alley-oop slamma-jamma between the two freshmen. Syracuse extending it to a 30-point lead. 69-39, 4:10 left to go, Kyle. Oh, my goodness. Freshman to freshman, that was exciting.
Yeah, look at that connection right there. And from the rafters, look at Newton slam it down. That is disrespectful right there, Gio.
Absolutely. Niagara trying to pull within 30. Three-pointer is up. Off the mark. Roberts couldn't get it to go. Merrick Dolajai, the rebound for the Orange. Kadari Richmond come back to get it. And they're going to have Richmond right now, the freshman, running the point. He's that second-string point guard besides Joe Girard III this year. Richmond past the inside. Dolajai kicks out to Braswell. Braswell for three. Couldn't get it to go. John Bolajak tried to get the rebound, and it's knocked away out of bounds by the Purple Eagles off the hands of Greg Kukamensa. So it'll stay Syracuse ball. But taking a look at the replay, Kadari Richmond trailing down the court off the feed from Dolajai, and the alley-oop was perfect. Freshman to freshman, Kadari Richmond to Woody Newton. Syracuse fans can take that picture in their brains and keep it to stay for years to come.
Yeah, with 3.5 to go, that's really a good notable play right there. Kind of summing up the offensive output of Syracuse tonight. They've really tried all sorts of things. They've three-point shot well, but as the game developed, they've gotten onto the paint, and honestly, their offensive output has really shot up since then. There's no need for those three-point shots to leave the hands of Joe Girard and other guys up top. And now that we have these freshmen who aren't as good shooters, we're seeing them driving the inside, and they're more comfortably making shots. If I recall, Joe Girard only made maybe a couple buckets on the inside and then one three-pointer. So the offensive output can be hindered by guys who are more comfortable with those jump shots, from deep. So it's good to see these guys driving on the inside. It's a more prototypical, characteristic way of offense for Boeheim. So it's good to see.
Oh, absolutely. And as the clock, I should say, not quack. But as the clock continues to wind down, it does seem like Guerrier's day may come to an end here under 4 minutes to go. And if that's the end of his day, Kyle, what a day it's been for the sophomore. 23 points, nearly perfect from the field, 9 for 10, 4 for 5 from the free throw line, 13 rebounds. The guy's been all over the place. So 23 points and 13 rebounds. That's as good of a double-double as you could possibly ask for if you're Jim Boeheim.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all he's missing is some assists. And really, then you're not asking him to drop off some dimes, are you? I mean, he's a forward who's been playing on the inside all night, and he's done his job well. He rebounds, and he gets those balls back up and in. I mean, that's why he's in double figures. He's done all the right things and the small things correctly. He's 6'8", so he's big for a forward, and he's about 220 pounds, so he's a big guy, really. So does it surprise me that he's really manhandling people on the inside? Not at all whatsoever.
No, I'm really excited to see the season that Quincy Guerrier is going to have for this Syracuse team. He's been huge. A lot of good college basketball across the country right now, Kyle. VMI hanging in there with Virginia Tech. The Hokies lead at 50-45, but VMI certainly gave them a scare early. 5 minutes to go. Virginia Tech leads by 5. Gonzaga's playing on West Virginia. That's a number 1 versus number 11 in the country. So really, this has been a great week for college basketball. You saw earlier this week, Michigan State and Duke in the championship classic. And as well, later that night, it was Kentucky facing off against Kansas. You can't ask for better college basketball.
Oh yeah, I mean, despite COVID, all these seasons are playing out well, and they're playing out very excitedly. I mean, you can't forget women's hoops either. Of course, NC State, the number 8 team in the country, just beat South Carolina. Of course, usually a reigning number 1 team, so that's a huge upset as well. There's been plenty of upsets. Last time we called basketball, there were a couple of upsets to note too. So obviously, a lot of excitement. I mean, even with Syracuse versus Bryant, that was a close game and nothing you were expecting. Although there were no ranked teams in the matchup, despite Syracuse being high up in the AP poll rankings.
Yeah, and Syracuse was just outside of the top 25 at about 29th at that point. They since dropped because of the close game with Bryant, but Kadari Richmond a feed to the inside. Woody Newton gets a floater to go from the ACC logo. It's all orange, and it's back-to-back points from the freshman. Freshman to freshman connection. Kadari Richmond to Woody Newton for 4 points consecutively. 71-39 is the score right now inside the Dome. 3 minutes left to go. It's all orange. The cardiac cues were in full effect on Friday night. And then again on Saturday for football. That's not the case here inside the Dome for Syracuse versus Niagara. That time as Kuka gets one to fall. It's a layup, and it's a 41-71 ball game inside the Dome. 30-point lead for Syracuse, Kyle. 2.5 to play.
Yeah, Kadari Richmond manning the offense now. I mean, he's not afraid to be a good guard. He's obviously a little bit taller. The athleticism is on display for all these young faces, and it's really fun to watch with this 30-point lead. 2.5 to go, and everybody's getting touches for Syracuse.
Braswell a 3 off the mark. Nice to see Frank Anselim in there, and McDonald goes down the court, and he gets a layup to go. A fast break score for Niagara. Now a 28-point advantage for the Orange. 2:18 left to play, and Syracuse just trying to kill some clock here. Frank Anselim, the freshman in the game for the Orange. Kadari Richmond, a kick out to the left side, and it was tipped away by Justin Roberts, and just an unfortunate series of events because it was right in the face of Woody Newton, and he wasn't able to corral it. Tips off his hands and out of bounds it sails. And that's really not Newton's fault because Roberts was right in front of him and just tipped the opposite direction. But nonetheless, it is a turnover for Syracuse, and Niagara takes it the other way, trailing by 28. McDonald, deep 3 at the top of the key. Kadari Richmond's there to block it away. A pass up the court. Robert Braswell slams it home, and Syracuse is up 30 once again under 2 to play.
They're continuing to separate here, and that's a great athletic play on display again. I mean, these boys are slamming it home with some oomph to it. I mean, these boys are looking really good on the inside. I mean, they're kind of taking after Guerrier, who's off the court since then, getting these younger guys minutes, or they're really manhandling on the inside and getting the job done. This is some fun basketball right here, Gio.
Absolutely. Foul going the other way, and it's against Syracuse. So going to the free throw line will be Kuka-Mensah. 1:38 to go. Syracuse up by 30. And again, it's the young man, Kadari Richmond, with an exciting block. He's been all over the place, using his long wingspan and his height at that guard position, getting it up the floor. And I really think, Kyle, Kadari Richmond is going to be huge for Syracuse this season. And if he stays next season, this is a guy that, coming in, a 4-star recruit, you'd like to think he won't leave for the NBA, but if he keeps playing basketball like this and dropping nearly 20 points every night, he very well might.
Yeah, and he will if he keeps getting these starts too, which I think he certainly deserves. Of course, Buddy Boeheim should be on the court. He could possibly play some point guard as well, especially with Joe Girard with some past struggles. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen, Gio.
Braswell, a 3 is off the front rim, not even close, and he tried to dive after it as it sailed out of bounds. And out of bounds it goes. It's another giveaway for Syracuse, but that's A-OK. Braswell with a dunk before that kind of makes up for it. So it's still a 30-point game. Now a minute 10 and counting to play in the Dome. Syracuse just icing away another big and consecutive win. Anselim closing out on the left side. Kuka-Mensah, a pass closed in on by Kadari Richmond. Richmond, like a fullback to the rim, couldn't get it to go. He's fouled. Woody Newton stuffs it home with a dunk, but that one's not going to count because Kadari Richmond's taking a trip to the free throw line. This kid is special.
Oh, yeah, with that reach on the inside, he can get that ball up towards the rim very easily. He has some good height at the forward position, and that's a good example of some athleticism again right there from Kadari Richmond. I mean, we saw earlier on a big tip drill steal coming down the court. He put it up and in with some pressure on him. So this kid really can get the job done. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get these starts again, whether or not Buddy Boeheim gets in the court due to COVID.
Couldn't agree with you more, Kyle. Now it's a 75-43 game because Kadari Richmond hit both of his free throws. Under a minute to play inside the dome, and the Orange can sense it. A 2-0 start. 3-point fake, pass to the inside. Kuka-Mensah gets one to go. And now it's within 30 once again. 75-45 lead for Syracuse. 38 seconds to play. Richmond with it at the top. Gives it off to Newton. Richmond again. Pump fake. Gives it off to Braswell. Now Richmond. Pass to the inside. John Bolajak. Robert Braswell. Three-pointer on the left side. Off the mark. Woody Newton chasing a rebound. Couldn't get there, and we're going the other way. It's Niagara possession. 22 seconds left. Shot clock is dead. Foul on the court. Excuse me, it was not a foul. It actually looks like the ball goes out of bounds off the foot of Trey Soroka for Niagara, and Syracuse will have it. 18 seconds to go. They'll just dribble out the rest of this clock, Kyle. 14-13, 75-45 lead for Syracuse, and what a game it has been. The Orange will be 2-0 on the season. Kadari Richmond dribbling out the final seconds from inside the Carrier Dome. Syracuse wins it 75-45 over the Niagara Purple Eagles. It's a 2-0 start for Jim Boeheim and the Syracuse Orange. It wasn't the cardiac cuse in full effect tonight after a 30-point win. What a game it was. What an offensive onslaught. They were great, dominant off the glass. And your two leading players tonight and your stars tonight have to be Quincy Guerrier and Kadari Richmond, Kyle.
Oh, yeah, the forwards really distributed the ball well tonight. You were supposed to expect Dolajai actually getting some assists on the inside, but, him at the center position, he's kind of hindered offensively. He's not really that strong enough to do so. But otherwise, there's some small things to clean up for sure, Gio. But Syracuse has looked really solid tonight, and it's good to see that immediate improvement with extra practices under their belt. Of course, cardiac cuse, like you said, not in full effect tonight, so that's really good to see. Next thing you know, it'll be conference time, Gio, so I'm really looking forward to ACC play. But next, we'll have to worry about these next couple non-conference games. Of course, Ryder coming up on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can't miss that. So a lot of big games coming up for Syracuse. Hopefully they have this continued success for Boeheim.
Of course, just taking a look at the box score tonight for Syracuse, Quincy Guerrier leads the way, 23 points, 13 rebounds. The guy was all over the place, an absolute monster, 9 for 10 from the field. What a game out of him. He has to be our Orange Heat Flame of the game. Then going forward, it's going to be Kadari Richmond, the freshman, 16 points tonight. He also goes 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, almost had himself a double-double like Quincy Guerrier, and also 6 assists with 4 steals. So sharing the ball well, 4 steals and 3 blocks, using his wingspan, playing dominant. Alan Griffin had 10 points as well. Merrick Dolajai with 7. Joe Girard III with 8. And coming off the bench, Woody Newton had 9 for Syracuse. Robert Braswell had a bucket as well. So what is scoring performance for Syracuse? An offensive dominance performance, 75-45 your final. We'll be back here Saturday for some Syracuse football as the Orange will take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. What a game that'll be against the number 2 team in the country at this point on the road in South Bend, Indiana against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And then later that day, it's a doubleheader. Kyle, I believe you said you have to work, but I will be on the call for Syracuse versus Rider basketball. So I can't wait for Saturday. It's a big one. It's a Syracuse doubleheader. We look forward to those as the football season eclipses the basketball season, and they really kind of double head over each other. Those Saturdays where you get some basketball and some football action are some of the best. So that'll do it here today. Kyle, your final thoughts on the game?
Well, thank you again, Gio, for having me in this production. Really good stuff you have going on here. But, yeah, looking forward to Ryder. Hopefully another game that they can kind of run away with. But, yeah, like you said, Guerrier and Kadari Richmond, kind of those forwards who are looking really athletic tonight, getting those small things done. And in the absence of Brahma Sidibe and Buddy Boeheim, these young men have really filled in well, and that's awesome to see and warming my heart for sure. So I want to see this continued success and continue to spread the wealth offensively and defensively between all these young men, all these new faces like Braswell, Kadari Richmond, Alan Griffin, all on the court tonight to see Gio. And I'm looking forward to that next basketball game, for sure. Saturday, 7 p.m. You guys cannot miss it.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Kyle. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a blast to call the game together, just pursuing our dreams in sports broadcasting. So I loved having you on as always. I can't wait to call another one with you Saturday for Syracuse football. You're the best. Syracuse starts 2-0 on the season. It's a big-time victory. 75-45 is your final inside the Dome. We'll see you on Saturday, though. So for Kyle Marchak, I'm Giovanni Heater. As always, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a broadcast by Orange Sheep.
Boom.